What's up, gentlemen? Please let me know if the audio on this is coming in because I've had some complaints that the audio from this particular mic is not working out. Let me know. Can you hear it? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like just way too loud and 1 being nothing. Where are we at? Okay. I got a 6. I got a 5. All right. Let's see if I can turn this up a little bit here. All right. Is that any better? All right. Let's turn up the gain on this. Is that any better? Dick Almighty can hear a cricket fart. All right, so we're coming up a little bit. Okay, good. Yes, excellent. All right, I don't want to blow anyone's ears out. It is what it is. All right. Today it's a crazy goddamn day. All right, so I'm going to start this off with some crazy observations. Okay. So I just went up north to link up with a bunch of individuals. I link up with them like once a month. We shoot guns, stuff like that. We went out to Walmart to go pick up some supplies. And now I don't know if you guys are used to hanging out in some areas where rednecks are mainly inhabit the earth. Because we went into this Walmart, and this is up in northern Michigan. I'm not going to say the city. And I was in there for about 20 minutes. And I counted at least 18 Womalos. Okay, 6 of them were in battery-operated scooters. All right, so let me get this straight. You are so gravitationally challenged that you need to park your car next to one of these scooters things, take a few steps to get in the scooter, and roll your gravitationally challenged ass into Walmart to buy yet more calories to expand your ass. I'm just trying to get this. I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. At what point do you actually look at yourself in the mirror and go, you know, I ate my way in here. Perhaps it's time for me to walk my way out. And that is a quote from Bill Burr, because he said it best right there. I'm not stealing his thunder, but man, that dude's a fucking genius. Okay, now that's the battery powered individuals who are rolling themselves up and down the aisles of Walmart. All right, so that was 6 of the 18 Womalos in Walmart. All right, I had one. She was walking around. She's about 315-ish. She wasn't like 450, 4 and beyond, which the scooter riders need. But, if she continues what she's doing, she's going to need a scooter herself. And this woman had like 4 young kids with her. 4. All right, we're talking like 5, 3, 2, and 1 in the shopping cart. All right, and you could tell they didn't all have the same father. Okay, some of them were melanin challenged, and some of them weren't, and you could tell right there. All right, and a lot of people are like, well, maybe they weren't her kids. Yeah, they were calling her mama. Okay, because I had to go down the aisle where she was at, and I was, making some decisions, and I could hear them all talking, and yeah. So not only is this woman gravitationally challenged, but for some reason, she can't even keep her legs closed, and she's got a whole posse of children that she probably can't take care of. Because, she was using a bridge card. The car she drove up in was just a rust bucket. It shouldn't have even been driving, in my opinion, but what do I know? So back in the day, before we had all of these social safety nets that allow people to be absolute assholes, live their life like morons, and they have no fear of Darwin sweeping in to basically flick them off the earth like the nasty booger they are. And all of these people, we are paying for that shit with our tax dollars, and I found it relatively infuriating. But hey, what do I know? I'm just an old grunt. I'm on the back nine. I'm probably around the 13th or 14th hole. Not a lot left. I got to get all my shit done before I'm on the conveyor belt to the cesspit, where I will turn in this body for its mineral deposits at 65. That was relatively aggravating. Now, on top of that, I have a pickup truck, and it, for whatever reason, it was just fine, and I got up this morning, and apparently I didn't realize that the man had called Whitey, and Whitey had sent a fax to Murphy to show up and put his wiener in my butt, because my truck stopped idling. So that means you could start it, and it would run as long as you had your foot on the gas. And I had to drive that truck back 300 miles. I started, pretty early in the morning. I take that back. It wasn't that far. It was about 180 miles. And I was quite upset about it. I'm still working on it right now, but it is what it is. That's the problem you get when you drive older cars. You have maintenance issues. Okay, so I got back here. I opened the hood, and I pulled off the air filter and a lot of the other crap, and I used some of that carburetor cleaner stuff and sprayed it in there. I used about a third of a can, and lo and behold, it stopped. But it's a warning sign. There's probably a sensor in there that I'm going to have to replace. I just need to do the research. And every time I have problems with cars, I always have somebody like, hey, you know what? Why don't you just buy a new car and you won't have these kind of problems? And they are correct. You're absolutely correct. In fact, my best buddy's oldest sister said some shit like that to me at Christmas. And they all laughed at my, comment about, $5,000, there being a car, and, and her new husband drives like a $70,000, $80,000 truck. In the back of my mind, I was just like, okay, well, when you buy a new car and you drive it off the lot, you're going to lose anywhere between $5,000 and $11,000 of its value just by driving it off the lot. And then 5 years later, that $70,000 automobile or whatever is going to be worth a fraction of what you paid for it. So you're coughing up, first of all, you have to have top of the line insurance. You have to have full coverage on it because you don't technically own it because you have a loan on it if you financed it, which most people do. And So you're paying an interest note on that, on an asset in 5 years is going to be worth a fraction of what you paid for it. And then you lose a bunch of value right off right from the get when you drive it off the lot. And I'm like, you know what I've done with my all of that value and that you've lost on those new vehicles? I bought real estate. All right. So granted, I drive shitty cars. I got it. But I have almost $500,000 in real estate as of 2 weeks ago. And I'm looking to get more. So at the end of the day, yeah, you drove around in bling and everybody saw you and you were great. What are you going to do when you get like 50, 60, 70, dare I say 80, because 40 to 80 is a long time. You think you're still going to make that money to buy all that bling and all that bullshit? No, you're not. And you've been hoodwinked the entire time thinking that, hey, you're somebody because you bought a new car. Now, don't get me wrong. If I ever come into any stupid money, I'd probably buy a hot rod, something that's not brand new, but 'cause I still love hot rod cars, and that's just the way it is. But anyway, that is my observations for the day. It was, as a comedian, I look at things in a whole different light now. When I was younger and, I was Mr. Warrior and I was in the Army doing all the high-speed shit, I did not really have the same sense of humor. And I didn't look at the world as I do now. And I don't know if that is a side effect of a TBI or just getting older. Maybe a little bit of both. I don't know. But I just thought, you guys are part of the inner sanctum here at Redonkulas, You guys like to hear this kind of shit, and I don't mind telling it to you. I'm not a liar, and I've never been good at lying and deceit. I'm a pretty open person once I start talking. But that's neither here nor there. Oh, and if any of you are interested, this is herbal tea. I am basically I drink 2 or 3 of these a day to help unpickle my internal organs. All right, we're going to go to some news for today, and we're going to see what we got going on here. Stand by. I am making the transition. Boom, boom. All right, open that. And we're going here. All right. Now, we've had some... I'm sure all of you know about the Will Smith incident that took place about a week ago when he got up on stage in front of God and everybody and decided to slap Chris Rock in the face. Now, that incident happened between 2 black men who are very, very wealthy and have worked their entire lives to get to where they are, and I have nothing but respect for them both. But somehow, that was a display of toxic masculinity, and it was basically, they're saying it's a display of white privilege. What? What? White? Okay, let's just, maybe I didn't see it right. Oh, no. Hey, no, I'm sorry. Will Smith's black and Chris Rock is black. There's no white privilege there whatsoever. But this is a shining example of what the left does. They do some crazy ass shit, or they pass laws that they know don't apply to them, or they're not going to be enforced against them, and they will be enforced against the right. And just like this whole white supreme pizza, it's all this violence being committed by white supreme pizza people. It's not. It's happening on the other side of the spectrum, and they are basically finger fucking the stats and blaming it on the right. Everyone who's the If anyone who's melanin challenged, it's all your fucking fault. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. And then we've got Netflix, basically turning their back on Mr. Smith. They had a couple of projects in the works. They had some signed contracts. I don't know how that's going to play out, but I'm sure, Mr. Smith will get a decent amount of cash for them basically breaking the contract. That's how it usually works. And, Netflix probably made the decision like, hey, it's probably cheaper if we just pay him a portion of the contract and say goodbye than it would be to go ahead with the full production and then have it fall apart at the back end with nobody watching it, which is happening quite a bit here with a lot of the bullshit that's being put out by Hollywood. Case in point, Halo. All right, now I loved that game. All right, I played Halo with a lot of my friends. One of my best friends who's dead now, his name is Richard. He used to play on a Halo League. He had another buddy of his had a whole house with like 11 different systems in it, and you could bring your own and hook it up into the network. And we would play Halo against each other for money, of course, That's the way it worked. He's dead now, but it is what it is. But I watched all of like the anime stuff about Halo. I watched all of the basically the cut scenes that they turn into a movie on YouTube. And I mean, I loved it. And I was really upset when I found out that they're not even really following the Halo lore. All right, and I watched just part of the first episode, and there's really they're not starting from the beginning. They're starting to, in the middle of the whole goddamn thing. And, granted, some of the CGI and they were fighting with the plasma weapons were pretty cool. I'll give you that. Not going to take that away from them. But then it seems like, there was an attack in the first episode and this young girl survives. And you could tell, and this was right where I turned it off. I could tell that it's not going to be about, Master Chief. It's going to be the story of this little girl whose whole family and tribe was killed in some bullshit planet. And you know what? I don't have any stomach for it. All right, if you're gonna market something like, hey, this is Halo, and then you're not gonna follow the lore, the story, you're not gonna start from the beginning, and you're secretly trying to sneak in a female character to be the lead character, I'm done. I'm out. I watched 1/3 of that episode, and they could fuck off. All right. Woo! Got me on a rant there. And then here we go. Can Will Smith recover from the Oscar slap? It'll take him a few years, but I think he'll be okay. Here we go. Amy Schumer had to chime in because there's probably a lot of people out there want to run up on stage and slap her in the face. Okay, Mrs. Hold Trump's, severed head thing. I don't know what the fuck you were thinking when you did that. All right, he was working at, the Netflix backs away from Will Smith film Fast and Loose. Okay, so I know there was that one and there was another one. I don't know which one was contracted. But anyway, I don't want to burn up a lot of your time tonight rehashing shit that you could watch on the news. This is just my opinion. I was kind of hoping, we would see him get slapped around a little bit more, but it is what it is. What are you going to do? All right, let's see if we can go here through some of the chats for a few minutes. Okay. We got everybody doing the greetings. It's awesome. There's the numbers for the audio. Hopefully it's better this time. I'm trying not to back all the way back here because then, You know, that's just the way it goes. Let's see here. The point where they gravitation. Well marbled alien meat. I like. Ooh, yeah. Scooter builders have to eat too. Yes, they do. Woo! Yeah, I covered. Did I cover this last time about that woman from New Zealand? She was like 400 pounds, and she was like the face for healthy at any size or beauty at any size, and she just dropped dead, died at 42 in her sleep. Yeah, that happens quite a bit with people who are morbidly obese. You're not going to live to be you're not going to live to be old. I'm sorry. All right, Cord Oliver. It's like I have a vacuum leak. I very well might. All I know is I'm gonna take it in and get it looked at, get it fixed. There's a what is it called? Idle control valve, and it's at the back end of the carburetor. It's like a $50 part. I gotta either do it myself or pay somebody to do it to replace. You should fix the problem. And then get a tune up. That's right. Let's see. 70, 80 G's, overpriced plastic crap property. Everything is engineered to fail. Yes, it is. And there's actually a couple of vehicles that Honda puts out that you can't even like get the transmissions rebuilt. You got to go to the dealer and buy a new one and put it in. What kind of shit is that? My God. Yeah, Wrecker 74 never paid more than $10K for a car. What's the most ever paid for a car? I think $4,800. Because I basically spent all of the 2000s and until just a couple of years ago, I just drove old cop cars, and I really didn't have major problems. I mean, I had to have one had to have a transmission rebuilt, and I found a dude who would rebuild it and put it in for $1,200. And I drove the absolute shit out of that car until I wore out the engine and the transmission. And because for those of you that didn't know this, I used to drive 571 miles one way twice a month to see my kids, and I did that for 5.5 years. And in the months of the winter where I couldn't drive, I took a train. Yeah, Iron Pete the Great. White privilege between two black guys. Yeah. I mean, it is so absurd. Everything's getting blamed on the white guy. And I'm getting fucking tired of it. I really am. Yeah, and in fact, Dick Almighty made a comment here about 10 rock brothers. A couple of them are comedians, and they're ripping Mr. Smith a new one. See, Riggs Jr. No, I was told the movie would have jack squat to do with the game. Then why watch Halo? I mean, come on. You're not going to follow the game or the lore. You just get the hell out of here. I mean, it's not. I'm not. Netflix is going to take a bath on this, in my opinion, and maybe you'll see a second season. But as a betting man, I would not bet on it. Let's see what we got here. Don't refer the game. Let's see. Halo creative team admitted they didn't refer to the game, so it didn't distract their vision. Again, listen. Halo came with a whole ass load of pre-made fans. And as long as you stuck to the lore and didn't make it too woke, they would all tune in to watch that show. But now they're not following the story or the lore, and it's going to turn into some woke bullshit. And those fans are just going to say, fuck you. We're not doing it. And I don't blame them. I do the same thing. Callipy, no, that was Kathy Griffin who held up Trump's head. You're absolutely correct. I'm sorry. I misspoke. It happens. Amy Schumer, the grenade nobody wants to fall on. And rumor is she's probably getting divorced here soon. I'm getting reports that things in her household are not so hunky-dory. Am I shocked? No. Oh my Lord, you guys are on fire tonight in these comments. Jesus. Yeah, J-Riggs, YouTube it pop. Idle valve isn't too hard. Yes, you're right. It's not too hard. I can do it. I just got to wait for it to warm up so I can spend half a day trying to fucking put in these two goddamn screws that are behind the goddamn carburetor. You know, knowing me, I'm going to drop a screw and I'll fucking freak out and I'll be pissed off and swear. So typically I like to do my car maintenance when nobody's around so nobody can see me showing my ass when I drop screws and fuck my knuckles up and scream and shit. And God damn. It's probably comedy gold to watch me do that, but for me, not so much. Let's see. Mike Oxmal. It's now possible to buy a new car and then from the dealership and flip it for profit. Well, if I had the patience for that, I might try it, but I don't. Wrecker 74. Any update on your fantastic moment or for your last child support payment? Not yet. I need to get off my ass and get that fixed. Let's see. Just water tonight, recovering from. Iron Pete the Great drinking just water tonight because he's recovering from a 50-mile run yesterday. Wow. That's some ultra marathon shit right there, bro. The farthest I've ever run, about 15 miles. 15 miles. And I really don't know how, when I had to do that run while I was down in South America and we had stumbled upon a cocoa field that was guarded by mercenaries. And even then, we ran the rest of that day into the night, into the next morning-ish, noonish. We only traveled maybe 8 or 9 miles, but that was through fucking triple canopy jungle, man. And we were all fucked up from that. It took months for all the black palm to come out of my skin. And, all right, for those of you that don't know what black palm is, it is a fungus that grows on the trees and vines in South America. And it's these long, thin thorns. And every time you touch it, it goes into your skin and breaks off. All right? And once the sun goes down, everything you touch is black palm. When the sun is up, you can see it and avoid it. But yeah, I literally had black palm thorns coming out of my skin for about 6 weeks after that. And then there was a couple more that didn't come out that made it underneath the skin that I had later had to have them cut out. That was interesting. You guys are fucked up, man. That shit is hilarious. All right, let's see if we go to our next news story here. All right. And boom. All right. All right, you're going to start seeing little stories like this pop up. All right. And this is on Fort Bragg. They found a major dead in his car. This was on March 30th. Okay. And this, in my 3 decades military service, did we have service members have heart attacks? Yes. Very few. Most of them were in, conjunction with heat stroke. When somebody's core temperature gets to, beyond 105, bad shit starts to happen. And, if you get like painfully dehydrated and sweat out your electrolytes, and they died. And they were older too. They weren't like, in their 20s or their, first half of their 30s. Most of these guys were in their 40s when they died. But there was maybe in 30 years, 3 or 4 guys. Never found a guy dead in his car. Though I've heard stories about guys dropping dead in the PX parking lot years ago, and I guess it does happen. My heart goes out to this guy here and his family. But this is from the Army Times, or Army Times. And the Army Criminal Investigation Division is handling a probe into Einstein's death. It's not going to go anywhere because we know what it was. And then they said the cause of death was not released. All right. Now here's another one, and I've been mentioning this the other day, and this came out. Let's see. All right, this is from newswithviews.com. All right, and you're not going to see this in mainstream media, but Fort Bragg has had 83 soldiers die in the past 18 months, ending June of 2021. Only 11 of those deaths were from natural causes. Okay, Fort Bragg hasn't announced any fatalities since then. They're still happening, but the base has gone dark. All right. This is going to be very hard for them to cover this up. All right, because this is the way it works. You go in the Army. You go through basic training. Well, actually, let's start off here. You go in the Army. You go through in-doc. They look at all your medical records. You get one last physical before you ship. All right? And if that's just the way. By the time you show up, you are in peak health. You cannot get into the military with, especially nowadays, with any kind of pre-existing condition. I mean, you literally need to come off the block with all fingers, toes, hearing, eyes, everything. If you're prior service, you can get waivers and stuff, but typically you're not getting any kind of waiver coming off the street. So, we have 72 soldiers die in that 18 months. All right, so I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be up front. We're on Front Street here. I've been to Fort Bragg quite a few times. When you go in the front gate or the rear gate, the 2 main gates, there's a sign where they keep track of how many days Fort Bragg can go without killing a motherfucker. All right? Because let's just be honest. The 82nd are some crazy motherfuckers. Now, I equate them to the orcs from Lord of the Rings. They literally don't really give a fuck. And they do stupid shit. And I remember I was living in the old Coscom barracks, which were World War II barracks. And we had developed a leak in the roof. And we had water dripping in to the top floor. And it was getting pretty severe. So we contacted the RNU, went up the chain of command, and we got some cash to fix the roof. And we had to do it ourselves. So, typical Green Berets, you get a mission, figure it out, and you complete it. So we got up there with 6 guys tearing off the roof, which I got stuck doing, and that sucked. All right, but I spent 6 hours on the top of the roof. Maybe it was 4 hours, I don't remember. And, we scraped off ripped up all the shingles, tore out the nails, what have you. We had to replace 2 pieces of plywood you could tell that those roofs had been fixed before, because on the western side, you still had planks that were basically, that's what they used back then when they built the barracks. And on one side they had plywood, and that was the side that was leaking, and we replaced that. But at least a dozen times when people were driving by and they could see us from the road, they would beep their horn and we could hear them yell out the window, "Don't die! 4 more days and we get a 3-day weekend." And sure as shit, it wasn't me or anybody in my class, but somebody broke their neck on a jump and they reset the clock. All right, now they train hard, they don't give a shit. And on average, there would be between 1 and 6 people dying on Fort Bragg a year, just from training accidents and what have you. Now, I wasn't up to speed on the entire amount of people that died, but I can tell you this. It wasn't 73 fucking people. All right? Now, if you're a soldier, you get issued 2 sets of dog tags. 4 dog tags. You have 1 set on you and 1 set in your locker. And if the worst were to happen and you were to die, 1 dog tag goes in your mouth, the other is given your chain of command. It starts the whole ball rolling. You got to go to mortuary affairs. They work out transportation to your home of record. They put together a firing squad and doing funeral honors. That might come from Department of the Army. It all depends. We've had issues where we had soldiers die in training accidents where, their whole squad basically got orders to fly to that, their buddy's home of record and do their funeral for them, which, in my opinion, is probably the preferred method. It's always different when you have, like I've had to do this a couple times where we buried soldiers that I served with for a long time, and it was fucking heartbreaking. But the whole ceremony was a lot more. It struck everyone deeper when it was his friends doing it, not just somebody that was assigned from Department of Army. I've done that too, and that made it a little easier. And then, there's a whole long litany of payouts. All right, there's life insurance, there's a death benefit, and then those next of kin, get certain benefits. You can't hide that. Okay, that touches so many databases that you are not going to be able to hide that forever. All right, now you can cover up onesie, twosies. That has happened. But what are they going to do when, in 2022, a year later, they have 100 fucking people who drop dead? 2023, what if that goes up to 500? They're not going to be able to hide this forever. This is fucked up here. All right? Now, this is just a short one here. This is from March 30, 2022. Okay, it doesn't go into a lot of detail here because it's really hard for them to get the information. Now, if I have anybody out there who's still on active duty that can get me the receipts for this, I will bust this fucking story open because I am all about the soldier. I don't give a fuck about politicians. And I don't even give a fuck about 99% of the officers who run the military because I know they're pretty much mediocre to in fucking competent. That's just my opinion. All right, let's go back to the comments. See what we got here. All right. Yep, 83 soldiers. Iron Pete the Great, safe and effective. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Got it. Just don't touch his no-no square. Yeah, 38 is young. Like, all right, let's just put this in perspective. When I fought Eddie Butcher for the FFKA light heavyweight title of the world, I believe it was in the winter of 99, maybe winter of 2000 in Pennsylvania. I don't remember. That dude was 38. I was like 28 or 29, and I'm like, I'm going to beat this old man's ass. No! It didn't go down like that. That dude fucking schooled me hard. And he was like 38, 39 years old. 38 is not old to be dying in your fucking car for undisclosed reasons. Now, typically, if somebody dies in their car like that, it's a heart attack, stroke, maybe a blown aorta, aneurysm somewhere in a major vessel in your body. You get shot, or you crash the car. Those didn't happen. Yes, dirty old leg. Yes, I did see the Pentagon report on extremism in the military. It's a bunch of bullshit. All right, when I was in the military, you walk through the barracks, you're gonna see POW flags. You're gonna see like some rebel flags. That was very common. You see different variations of the American flag. Got it. Wasn't a big deal. Were they white supreme pizza? No, they were not. They're just good old boys, rednecks. Some of them were red trash, the stupider ones. But hey, you get all different kinds of people in the military, at least back then. Now, good fucking luck. You're pretty much going to have an army which is staffed with nothing but people who live in major cities, blue cities, who are totally liberified and make life decisions on emotion, not on logic and reason. It's going to be a huge clusterfuck. So I don't think the Army has an extremism problem. I think the Army has a problem with soldiers who are patriotic and love their country. All right, and they don't want those people anymore. They want haters. They want trans people. They want gays. They want to stuff it full of minorities. It's not going to work out at the end. Ojiski, what are your thoughts on buying scrap sterling for 80% of the spot price? Send me an email where you can do that, and I will check it out. All right, dirty old leg. Oh, G-Ski. Dirty old leg. I saw some pics of retired SF going to Ukraine. They had some satanic imagery on their ARs. Okay, there's a lot of different AR companies out there who add colors, engravings, bling, what have you. So what? All right. All they're really doing, it's the same AR platform. They're just, pimping it out for an additional charge. Does it make the weapon work any better? No. Do I think it's kind of stupid? Yes. All right. Because typically, if I'm going to go into a theater of war, I am going to paint my weapons so they match the terrain. I'm not going to have fluorescent yellow or green or any of that horse shit. I'm going to look at the area study, and I'm going to go, okay, all right, what are the seasons, and maybe look at some satellite images, okay, and I will use 3 or 4 different colors of bowflage, and I will prepare the weapon. And I'll probably do a video on this so people know how that works. But yes, I received 3 different calls to go there myself. Okay, the first 2 were to go there to basically do direct action stuff. I'm old. I don't want to do that anymore. If I still have some of that in my tank, but I'm not going to waste it over there. If I have to do that, it's going to be here for my country. And the third one, they wanted me to go and run security to some of the elements that are dropping off medical supplies and so forth for Ukrainian hospitals. And again, that was not, the way they pitched it, it wasn't uber dangerous, but there was a good chance that if you went down the wrong road, you're going to be in the middle of a 2-way rifle range. No, sorry, not doing it. They'd have to pay me a whole lot of money to go there and do that stuff. Okay, now Iron Pete the Great, he said, wow, 83 soldiers, and they're covering this up. That's 83 soldiers on Fort Bragg. What about Fort Hood, Fort Bliss, Fort Lewis, Eglin Air Force Base, Pendleton? Just think of all of the major bases that we have for all of our service members. If they all took 100 casualties or 70 casualties apiece that they can't explain, that number is going to be big. They can't hide it forever. It's going to come out. All right, Mike Oxmall. Kicking out soldiers for not getting jabbed and killing the remainder with the jab is not how to maintain a legitimate fight. Yeah, it's absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. This poke and smoke is causing all kinds of problems. I've looked at counseling statements from soldiers in regards to the poke and smoke. And literally, I'm looking at these counseling statements, and it's saying voluntarily go in and get the vax. Voluntary. Okay? And the reason they put that in there is the one that is authorized, they don't have it in stock. They have these substitutes that are just as good. And you have to volunteer to get those. When the fuck have you ever been thrown out of the military for not volunteering? I've never seen that. All right, now I've asked for volunteers and people didn't volunteer and I smoked the shit out of them. But that's about it. They're literally going to court-martial people and turn this into a fucking nut roll. Yeah, and I do want to apologize to you guys in regards to that last live stream I did on Thursday. It was like a big PowerPoint, and I want to apologize because, PowerPoints are boring. You guys don't come here to have me, go through a list and then talk point by point. I was just trying to be more organized so I didn't forget anything. And I will, moving forward, if I have to run my own streams, that will not happen again. It will be fixed. And I apologize to you guys for that. It's a bunch of bullshit. Ah, Wicker 74. There were they had some that were swept under the rug in Lejeune. Wow. Like I said, this is going to blow up. It is going to be huge. And I'm making a prediction right now because I know how this stuff works. All right. The numbers are going to get out. It's going to turn into a huge shit show. And all of the officers that were, there's going to be some high-ranking officers there that they're going to crucify, but yet they'll let them retire because they're going to take the blame. And all of the politicians that push this shit down are going to get a pass. Okay, now if I have any say in it, no, they're not. I'm just making a prediction. How many of us are going to paint our AR-15s pink in October for breast cancer survivors? All right. How many times have you seen an event for prostate cancer for men? I've seen very few, 2 or 3 in my entire military career. That's it. All the rest of the shit is breast cancer this and cervical cancer that. Now listen, I like titties. I do. I don't want to see them get sick. But guess what? There are men out there getting sick from very similar shit. And we're not doing crap about it. All right. A weapon camo demonstration would be cool. Yep. We're going to do it. So anyway, let me go to a quick piss break, and we'll continue this on in about 5 minutes.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
You look like a blueberry.
How do you write women so well?
I think of a man, and I take...
You guys, can you hear me now? Hopefully I didn't fuck that up. Let's see what we got here. Uh-oh. All right. Let's see what we got here. All right. I'm back. All right. Sounds like a good picture. Isn't the best looking. I can't do anything about the picture, Crusader Nate. I can only control the sound. You know, I do these from my from the lair, and unfortunately I'm near Detroit and there's no fiber optics. I'm going over copper wire. So there's only so much shit you can do with that. So I apologize. Let's see what we got going on. Okay, it's the next one. Oh, you're gonna love this one. Oh yeah. This is comedy fucking gold right here. Okay. All right, so first of all, this is an adult film star. Gives a new meaning to crotch shooting during video. All right. I mean, this is some low-hanging fruit here, man. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's get this to fit. That's what she said. Oh, my Lord. Let's get this out of the way. I would say law enforcement are often have to answer some rather bizarre calls. Recently, upon Upson County, Georgia sheriff's deputy responded to one such incident. Seems a young 27-year-old web adult film star had a recording session go bad. Very bad. The model was trying to accomplish, however, during the taping of the adult video, Lauren Damon accidentally shot herself. The accidental shooting wasn't so much a story as there was the shot landed. All right, I don't know if this is internal damage or just to the outside, but she shot herself in the vagina. Oh my God. Son of a bitch. Oh my God. All right. Whew. Apparently she had to go to the hospital. She made a recovery, but what the fuck are you thinking, man? Holy crap. Oh yeah. All righty, so we got Ooh. You want to talk about a vertical axe wound? Well, technically it's a vertical gunshot wound. But this time it's going to bleed 2 times a month from getting actually hurt, and then, you know, women do that once a month thing. There's going to be all kinds of blood to be had for that month. Yeah, and you're right. That wasn't the load she was expecting. Whew. Yeah, jokes write themselves. Yes, they do, Machina. I can't even laugh at this. I'm sorry. It was funny. I bet now it looks like a beef and cheddar takeout window. Listen, that joke, the beef and cheddar and a catcher's mitt, that really pisses women off when you say shit like that. And I find it absolutely hilarious because it's true. Oh, sad trombone music, yep. Oh. Dude, this is hilarious. I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I mean, granted, I'm laughing and she went through a hard thing or whatever, but pain looks good on other people. And there's been a lot of times where I got effed up and people laughed at me. And I'm cool with that. Woo! Alrighty, let's see what we got here. Okay, I think that we covered all those, so I'll minimize that. Let's see what we got here. Ah, that's an ad. I don't need that. Here we go. Okay. Now, I've mentioned this site in the past, and I just want to give you guys a little introduction to this, because you're part of the inner sanctum. Now, what I'm going to show you, you can get your hands on some really good shit for the upcoming, whatever we're going to have happen to help you and yours. All right, so let's show you what this is. So let me get up here. This is a site called govdeals.com. All right, let me show it to you right here. govdeals.com. All right. And you can go in there and it's alphabetically organized. You can get agriculture equipment, this is all stuff that the army and the government uses that, it's either reached the end of their service life or it's been upgraded or it was purchased and never used. That happens all the time. Okay? Case in point, I worked in civil affairs. I don't know what happened, but the powers that be, the 30-pound brains that were way above me, ordered all kinds of fucking wazoo crazy equipment. I literally had pallets of tools and all of these like media kits and solar panels and generators, and it was insane. We got it. I inventoried it. We put it on the hand receipt. The supply sergeant, did his magic thing, and it got inputted onto our books. And then we just kept it in a Butler building locked up. And lo and behold, 18 months to 2 years later, we had to go into the Butler building, take all of that stuff out, take it off our books. And the supply sergeant did and it came off our database. And then it got boxed up. And it got sent off to the surplus yard. That's called DRMO. Unused tools. We're talking like each company had $22,000 in just tools. Like, we're not maintenance. Why the fuck did we have that? I have no idea. We had all kinds of cameras and laptops and one-eye projectors. Never used, boxed up, sent to DRMO. All right, I've seen the same thing with vehicles. I remember getting a certain vehicles in our motor pool, and we drove them like 4 times, 5 times a year. That's it. We never took them to the field or did shit with them. And 3 or 4 years later, they had maybe 5,000 miles on the odometer. DRMO. All right, so let's just look at this. This is your A's. Ooh, audio and visual equipment. Let's look what that is. Look at this. And you can bid on all this stuff. You just sign up for it. You don't have to be in the military or work for the government. You can literally buy all this. See, lot of camera equipment. Right? And some people, listen, I talk to a lot of guys like, oh, I never buy anything at those DMOs because it's hit or miss. Yes, it is. It is hit or miss. If you can actually go there in person and look at the stuff, great. If not, and you're buying it online, you never know. But look at all this stuff. Projectors. Speakers. The fuck? Look at that. Desk phones. A whole pallet of desk phones. In the box. Which means they're not used. They've never been used. All right, oh, look at this. Oh, lot size. 6 FLIR systems, laser rangefinder, and commercial vision system. All right, and there's, I mean, I don't even know how many pages there are of all of this stuff. Let's look for something else here. All right, let's look for. Here's your bags. Here's your B. Coin collectibles. What the fuck is that shit? Well, there you go. There's commodities, general merchandise. What is this? Commodities. Probably food and stuff. Look at that. Unused Steelman workbench. Water boiler. I mean, this is shit that our government buys. And then they just, it goes into some warehouse somewhere. Maybe it's used. Most likely it's not. And then it gets sold. You can literally, do some good ass shit here. Well, let's look at computer hardware. See how old that is. Oh, look at that. Tape drives. Woo. Look at that. Computer parts. Well, let's look at the laptops. There's 140 laptops here. Or 140 lots of laptops. The whole palette right there. Let's look at this. Look at that. Every time Windows updates, they go to a new operating system, guess what? All new laptops. The old ones, you buy them in boxes. All right, granted, there's probably a certain percentage that aren't going to work, but there are a lot more that will. They have confiscated forfeited personal property, dental equipment, educational equipment, electrical supplies. Let's look at this one. Wow. Like, this is no joke. Most people, I mean, this is out there on the internet, but most people don't think about this. Guess what? I believe we're heading toward a time where we are going to need stuff like this. Health and beauty, heavy equipment construction. Let's look under heavy equipment construction. Oh. Look at that shit. Yes, you can buy this. And some of the stuff you can get it pretty cheap. It all depends upon who shows up to bid on it. I've had buddies of mine go to some of these auctions. There's like 5 or 6 people there. And they got some good stuff. I had a buddy buy 3 Cut Vs. And a Cut V is a pickup truck that has a diesel engine in it. None of them had more than 40,000 miles on them. And they were well maintained. Because guess what? They have to be washed on a wash rack. They go to the motor pool where the oil is changed. They're taken care of. He got 3 of them. I think he averaged out like $2,800, $3,100 a piece. Turned around, kept one, flipped the other 2, made a profit, got a free vehicle out of it on top of that. I'm looking for solar. Because I know they're rotating out a bunch of old solar systems. Look at all that plumbing equipment, public safety control, pumps, rail equipment accessories, real estate, land, parcels. Look at this. It's all on site, man. SUV. There's a 2019 Porsche SUV. 2018 Bentley. 17,000 miles. Chevrolet Suburban. Ford Explorer Police. 4-wheel drive. '79 Jeep. Look at all that. Oh, tanks. Is this the kind of tank I want? No. Oh, look. Diesel fuel tank. Ceramic thermal storage ice bank. Used propane tanks. Look at all that shit. Let's see. Televisions. Oh, look at that. I've witnessed this myself. See these TVs here? All right, now, when I was at the 414 Civil Affairs out of Southfield, Michigan, we received, I believe it was 6 of the bigger screen TVs, and we had them for 2 years. And then we got 6 bigger, newer TVs. They took those 6 down, boxed them up, they went to the DRMO. That is what we're talking about here. Look at this shit. Oh, you can get vans. Let's see what we got here. Oh, look. Oh, look at there's the 2015 Chevrolet retard van. Oh, another one. 2006 Ford Econoline E350 retard van. Let's see if there's a church bus in here. No. Oh, Ghostbusters. Now look at that shit. Let's do a search. Let's see if I can do a search here. Well, what do I want to look for? Let's do Humvee. 1995 4x4 Humvee. This is just the basic model. Another one, 1985. Want a Humvee? There you go. Starting bid $1,000. Current bid $10,004. They're out there, gentlemen. They're out there. All right, hopefully you guys are learning something here. Trying to help you so you can help yourselves and help the people you love and care about. Let's see what we got here. Woo. Let's see, Christian Pop. I got a few books that I am studying for my ham radio, and as soon as I get my test passed, I will send them to you to study for the ham. Okay, cool. Aircraft, any F-15s for sale? Well, let's look. Aircraft. Okay, let's look and see what we got here. Yes, there's aircraft. You get a 2007 Bell 407 helicopter. Look at that, a 2000 MD, something or other helicopter. Beechcraft. Now this is a little bird here. Let's bring back memories. Look at that shit. Ooh-wee. So they want a bid deposit on this of 5 G's. That's probably because they don't want anybody to fuck around. Let's see where the bid is on this. Okay, it's from San Diego County Sheriff's Department, California. Look at that shit. Minimum bid $100,000. The reserve has not been met. All right, so that here is basically a little bird, right? Except in the military, they're painted green or black. They're not, they don't have police colors on them. All right, so I have had the pleasure, or well, you could say pleasure in some ways and displeasure in others, is riding on some of these in less than favorable conditions. And I, as the first sergeant in Iraq in 2004, I had to travel between different FOBs that were around Baghdad. And I had to figure out by hook or by crook how I was going to do it, because my chain of command was not really going to coordinate that. I had to figure it out myself, which I didn't have a problem with. And since I was a long tabber, there was several occasions where I'd go to where the SF was staying on Victory and bum a ride from them. Okay, on a couple of these, they basically strapped me onto one of these fucking little birds and flew me, to where I needed to go. It wasn't even a long flight. It was maybe 15 or 20 minutes. And like literally I put on the harness, strapped into the, to the frame, sat there with my ass on the side of the helicopter with my feet hanging down. And of course, you're not going to fly without your weapon ready for action. And we took off and we flew maybe 100 feet over the rooftops, zipping along full speed. And, they got shot at quite a bit. I didn't really care for that, but it is what it is. I don't recall the plane or the helicopter I was on getting hit. But, you have the headphones on and everyone's talking. They're all calling out targets or, threatening areas. It was pretty fucking hairy. I'm glad I didn't have to do that every day. But holy shit. I'm sorry you got me knocked off on Army story. What are you going to do? There it is right there. The helicopter. All right, let's figure something else out. All right. So there you go, Iron Pete the Great. Yes, they have aircraft. And all right, the stuff that you're seeing on this site isn't just military stuff. It's government stuff. It's been bought by, either city, county, state governments, or the federal government. Now, the city, state, and county governments do get a lot of taxpayer subsidized benefits for buying higher end equipment that they use for whatever, and it is what it is. There's all kinds of money going back and forth between small governments all the way up to the federal government. I studied it in college when I was doing public administration. It is what it is. Mike Oxbow, do they ship to Canada? I don't know. Riggs Pop, keep the one-eyed wonderworm examination equipment. God damn it, you're brutal. That's funny though. Yeah, a Tiffany pendant. Why on earth would the military have that? All right, when you see stuff like that, I am going to have to tell you that that stuff was probably confiscated. And listen, the police confiscate shit from people all the time. And if they think that you shouldn't have that, they're going to come up with an excuse and say, well, maybe he was doing some illegal shit and we're just going to take it. It's called asset forfeiture. It is absolute horse shit. It's the equivalent of piracy. Okay, grant, yes, there are people out there who do bad shit, make a lot of money, and go nuts with it. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about the cops who have the power to do that to individuals who are partaking in, illegal activities. And they're using that power to come after normal people. Because power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I don't care who you are. There you go. That's why they have a Tiffany pendant. Yeah, grand piano with bench, 1850. Yep, that's like a $12,000 item. You get it for pennies on the dollar. Is the Hunter laptop there? I don't know, maybe. The FBI doesn't know where it is. Maybe they sold it. Who knows? Linux is the cure for all Windows infections. Yes, it is. Yeah. 2019 Porsche. Good God. Starting bid is $35,000. Yep. Can I trade some German scat porn for some truck parts? Well, probably not now, but if you're in the right environment, it can be done. I've done it. Now, okay, now you're talking about tanks. All right, you can still buy those. Okay, but they're not gonna give you like a top of the line M1 Abrams. When they were rotating out the M60 tanks, they sold quite a few of those to collectors and civilians. So yes, you can probably pick that stuff up. And I know I had an old Sergeant Major who had purchased a couple of armored cars that were used during World War II. And then he purchased a couple that were used in Vietnam. So, yes, you can buy all kinds of good shit on there. Just, luck has everything to do with it, and so does timing, just like anything else. Can you buy a Zamboni? It's only available in Canada. Oh my God. You guys are nuts, man. That's hilarious. All right, so I showed you that. Now let's go to something else here. Hang on. Okay. Here's another one I'm gonna lay in you guys here. Tractor Supply water filters. All right, these still they're in stock. They have all different types. They got big systems. They got small systems. Like when I set up I got that 30 acres. I want to put some buildings on it and have like a little sanctuary for dudes who need to enjoy a little feng shui when their life gets a little crazy. And I want to make sure that the water is not all effed up and good to go. So I'll be probably looking at some of this as well. All right, another one here. Wood burner. Now look at this. If you're living up in the woods, you're going to have wood. All you really got to do is go collect it. The cost of it is just your labor. You can heat your fucking house with it. when it gets cold, especially if, there's some, God forbid, energy prices get crazy expensive. You could, put one of these in your house, make sure you vent it properly, and then just get the wood. Look at the house I have in Berkeley. I spent quite a few winters heating that house with a wood burner. I'd go through 5 to 7 cords of wood in an entire season, and I would run that wood burner from about 8 in the morning to 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. I probably could have picked a better one that didn't burn wood as fast or had a better adjuster on it. But hey, what are you going to do? All right, here. Fuel storage. Look at that. There's your stabilizer for your fuel if you want to store it. It's all right there. All right. Let's see what else we got here. You guys still talking about the Zamboni machine? God damn, you guys are crazy. All right. Is there any other... You guys have any questions of me? All right. So I want to dedicate some time at the end for me just talking at you. If you guys have any questions, let them go now. Hey, are you guys up to speed on the whole Disney DeSantis feud that's kicking off? Because if you guys didn't know this, back in the 60s, Florida passed a law granting Walt Disney the ability to basically set up their own government. So Disney World, for all intensive purposes, operates like a county inside Florida. It means they can have their own sheriff, their own police. They can do all of that shit that a principality or a county can do. So DeSantis is basically kicking around removing that property or that law, so there would be more direct supervision from the powers that be what's going on in Walt Disney. Because right now, they quite literally are running the show and doing their own thing. And we saw exactly what that is. And it's not good. And I purposely hope that DeSantis pulls the plug on that shit and moves his own people in there so he can directly see what the fuck they're doing. Because it is not healthy. Like, that whole thing Disney's doing to fight this, don't say gay law, which it's not in there at all. I've read it. And, I'm just, the arrogance it's insane. The left just wants to spoon feed and indock your kids to be sexual victims in the future. That's the only reason to be talking to kids that young about this. Because normally, the sex ed classes I went to started like in the 7th grade. By the time, you're a sophomore in high school, you knew the deal. Okay, now, in my case, I figured it out a lot younger because I'm not a goddamn idiot. I know how shit works. Plus, I found the magazines and sold them at school. Uh-huh! That's another story. We won't get into that, though, but yeah. Woo! Okay, so Shooter 027, what military vehicles would you recommend us to buy if we could? Military trucks are really good, and so are Humvees. I've driven, listen, I bitch about the Humvee all the time, but, I spent 2 years in the motorized infantry and 9th ID, and I drove that Humvee all over the place. And, I mean, it was amazing. Did I like cleaning it? Fuck no. Was it loud? Fuck yes. Was it, good on your back? Fuck no. But it would go anywhere. You could drive that. I literally drove that thing with sitting in it. I had water over my waist, and the whole vehicle was in the water, idling through a river and up the other side, soaking wet. That was cool. Another one would probably be a deuce-and-a-half truck, because there's kits you can install on those so they'll run on diesel. They'll run on kerosene. They'll run on gas. They'll run on alcohol. You just got to be wary, because sometimes you start them and they run in reverse. Saw that twice. It was amazing. You put it in drive one and you're going backwards. Wow! Like, we had one idling all day so people could go to the motor pool and just watch that crazy shit. And they turned it off, restarted it, and it ran just fine. Not in reverse, but it was it happens once in a while. It was amazing. All right, how's the volume on this? Am I blowing your ears out? All right, so DeSantis. Okay, now the whole thing for Disney is there's an actual law that was passed that allowed them to do this. DeSantis doesn't have the power to just willy-nilly say, that's it, we're taking that law away. It has to go through a process. Okay, the left wants to have dictators or dictators be able to, pick and choose what you can and cannot do. All right, the right, for the most part, at least I want to see the rule of law be used, and I want those who violate it held accountable, which we are not seeing. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I'm done with Disney. I'm not watching their shit anymore. They can fuck off. You got to starve them at the vine, man. Just let them wither on the vine. Starve them. And listen, I'm not even about starving them until they change their tune. I'm saying we starve Disney till they go out of fucking business and allow somebody else to come in and go, you know what? You know what we're not going to do? We're not going to do what Disney did, because they paid the ultimate price. That is my feelings on that. Let's see here. Disney got cut off for good after the rise of the soy walker. Yep. See, Wrecker 73. Sex ed for my school system was to teach them about the diseases they get and preach abstinence. Why they had so many teen moms. All right, now hang on here. I had a social studies teacher who was tasked with running sex education. Now, he was a Korean War vet. So what we saw was the military VD movies. And they were atrocious, man. Wow. I saw shit. I mean, I was literally there's sometimes I like wanted to when I left class, I wanted to throw up. And let me tell you, that changed my tune moving forward. Now, as for the single mothers, I don't know. I don't know. Women seem to sit there and say they don't need men, but they get pregnant all the time. So, what's going on? I don't know. Let's see. How reliable is that wheel and gear drives for those most Humvees use? Well, I wasn't a mechanic, so I didn't do that level of maintenance on the Humvee. But they would take a beating, and they lasted quite a while. At least the ones that we were using. I don't know. See, are the multi-fuel Deuce and half and 5 tons? Yeah, they're good. Those are good trucks, man. I would stay, if they want to sell a LMTV, those are kind of iffy. I've seen a lot of bad shit happen with those, so I don't know. Now, Frank Beans, are you going to make a video of the importance of the NCO Corps and the Russians' mistake about that? Yes, I am. What you are seeing now in the Ukraine is you're seeing a command structure that was used basically during the 1800s and first half of the 1900s, where you had a few people at the top pulling the strings, and then you had minions underneath them, all terrified if they didn't do what they were told, they would get shot or whatever. But there was nobody in between that you could say, this is the mission, this is the intent. So if communication breaks down, you have these junior leaders down here like, hey, the commander said we got to take this by, blah, blah, blah. I know we are not getting any kind of feedback, but that's the mission. Let's just keep doing it or figure it the fuck out. What's happening in Ukraine is you don't have that middle NCO corps. You don't have the whip crackers standing over, the lower enlisted and the, the draftees to make them perform. And we are seeing a direct result of that. Like, literally, Russia destroyed their fucking army. I mean, my God. It is very important, and I should do a video on that. Thank you. All right, you want to hear the more cock story? All right. Story time. All right, years ago, when I was in the 2nd Ranger Battalion, I was a newly minted E5, and I got put on CQ. CQ stands for Charge of Quarters. So when the first sergeant and commander leave the building, you're in charge. So anything bad happens, or you're responsible for it. So, I was on duty. It was about somewhere after 9 o'clock at night, maybe a little later. And I would usually send my runner to go walk through the building on the inside and report if anything was out of place. And then while that was happening, I would do a walk around the outside of the barracks, and I would check the parking lot, because every once in a while somebody would get so fucking drunk and their buddies would come in and drop them off at the barracks and go about their way. And I'd find drunk, unconscious people all the time, drag them inside and put them in a bunk somewhere so they wouldn't fucking die when it got cold. But on that day, there was really nothing going on. So I come back in. It took me about 15 minutes. And the runner's like, Sergeant Pop, I think you should go up to the day room. There's some crazy shit going on up there. I'm like, what? He goes, there's a woman up there, and you just gotta go look, because I didn't go in there. I don't want to be implicated. So I'm like, fuck. All right. So I walk up there, and it was on the second or third floor. I think it was the second floor. I don't remember. And I walk in there, and there's this young lady. Now, I had thrown her out of the barracks before, not on that night, but in the past, like 2 or 3 times in the past, because she liked to come to the barracks and just have sex with Rangers. Now, typically, if you keep it on the down low and it's 1 or 2 people and I don't see it, I don't care. But I walk in the day room. Lights are on. This woman is on the side of the pool table on her knees, and she's surrounded by Rangers, all have their cocks out. And literally, I walk in, and I'll never forget the snapshot. She's literally working two rods with her hands, and she's like, more cock! And like, as soon as one would come out of her mouth, another one would go in a few seconds later. It was fucking insane. And listen, I'm an E5. There's like 3 E6s in this room. I'm outranked, but I'm the CQ. So I'm like, whoa, sergeants, what are you doing? And I can see they're dick thinking. And I'm like, and I'm seeing careers going up in smoke. I'm envisioning CID showing up, people getting court-martialed, going to prison. So I literally flick the lights. I'm like, this fucking stops now. And then you hear everybody like, oh, right. And I'm like, who's responsible for her? Who got it? Like, somebody's like, somebody buddy fucked their buddy. Like, he let her in. I'm like, all right, you let her out. You walk her to her car or whatever, drive her home. I don't care. This has got to go away. Boom. I fucking stopped that shit Ricky Tick, man. Because people were going to go to jail. Not a good time. You guys like the story times. I love it. Let's see what we got here. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Crusader Nate. Mike Oxmal. I worked in EMS. Just wait till you see it in live in front of you. Yeah, it's not a good thing. Dirty Old Lake. We saw the Vietnam era VD films in high school, ROTC. Wow. Those are brutal, aren't they? And if you get taught about blue waffle disease and sex ed. Is that a real thing? I hope not. Whoa, I never have the pleasure. Yeah, record 74, but we have a serious problem with teachers and administrators getting caught sleeping with students. Yes, I did a whole video called Wango Tango, and I mean, it was so disturbing, I couldn't do it for years. And the list kept growing and growing. And the really scary part is here, like women, female teachers having sex with their male students are literally, for the most part, getting a slap on the wrist, while men are going to jail for like 20, 30 fucking years. Mm. Oh, my Lord. So we have a female in the audience watching? Listen, I don't care if you're a woman in the audience. So I'm not going to change who I am. I'm going to keep saying what I say. Hopefully you like it. If not, okay. What are you going to do? Oh yeah, I've heard of the Appleseed Project. That's a noble enterprise right there. You can't make that call because you're not a biologist. Hey, shut up. That is so ridiculous. All right, how long have we been going now? About an hour and 46 minutes ish. Let's see what we got going on here. All righty. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm getting like some errors here. We've been going for 1 hour and 51 minutes. Not bad. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to be signing off here. Hopefully you like this. I'm going to try to change the format. You know, I want to cover like some current news stuff. I don't want to like turn this into like anything crazy like where I just do another PowerPoint thing. I don't want to do that. I showed you some of some valuable sites to go to because you can buy that equipment on there, and it just shows how much our government wastes the taxpayer dollars. Because you know, I'm just gonna make a guess. Like roughly 60% of that shit they're selling is never really used. Okay, now if you're gonna pay $100,000 for a vehicle and you max it out, you use the shit out of it, and then sell it, totally cool with that. You buy a vehicle, don't touch it or drive it, and then sell it at a deep discount with like 5,000 miles on it. That's fraud, waste, and abuse in my book. But hey, well, who am I? All right, gonna sign off here. Let's see what we got here. Anybody at the end? Let's see what we got here. All right. I'm going to see you guys later. Thanks for tuning in, man. I appreciate it. Take it easy.